Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible to you guys. If I am, please drop a yes message in the chat box. Godwin says yes. Sai Santosh says yes. Thanks guys for your confirmation. I would like everyone to be active in this session today because it's going to be a bang on session. Like you will know everything about masters in artificial intelligence. Stay in, like start the session by sharp 7. We are just 12 minutes away, and yeah, we'll be back at 7 o'clock. I request you all to stay in the room as we are expecting more number of people to join. You might lose your seat, so it would be great if you stay in.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. Depends on which part of the world you are right now. On behalf of Galvanize Global Education, I welcome you to today's session. And this is going to be a really interesting and timely session because our topic for today is doing your master's in artificial intelligence. In other words, MS in AI. So we're going to talk about a lot of things and I will walk you through it right now. And I'm so excited that you're all here today. Can someone just confirm whether they're able to see and hear me clearly in the, if you can let me know in the chat if I'm audible. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Great. So how are we all doing? Are we excited for the session? Well, I am excited and I'm very happy to see all of you. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So what are we going to be covering in today's session? First, we're going to discuss what are the key milestones and the future directions in the field of AI. To be honest, we will just touch upon this because this topic itself deserves multiple sessions on its own, right? I'm just going to touch upon it from the point of view of your career, and that's where we will restrict ourselves today. So we will also talk a little bit about the closely related fields. Some of you are considering AI, some of you are considering data science, or ought to be considering data science or data analytics. Maybe machine learning is not the right fit for you, or AI is not. So these are fields that they are closely related, but they are different from each other also in certain ways. So I hope to give you some clarity today in terms of which of these fields is a better fit for you. And then we're going to get into the core of today's session, which is what are the prerequisites of doing your master's for you to get accepted to a good university for an AI program, and how will you benefit from your master's in AI. And then we will also talk about the some tips and techniques to hone your application and make it stand out from the crowd. I will also touch upon typical career paths and salary expectations for you after you graduate. And finally, I will conclude with with actual student case studies with our own students who have gone on to do their masters in AI and what have they done. So you can relate to what other students have done and pick up some cues from there. All right, shall we dive in? Great. So as I begin, I will briefly introduce myself. My name is Pavithra, and I'm the co-founder of Galvanize Global Education. I did my master's in image processing and digital signal processing at Stanford University, was fortunate to receive a full fellowship. And then I worked in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley for a few years. And then I came back to India and I founded two edtech companies as part of my journey, designed and launched multiple successful mobile applications for students aspiring to study abroad with more than 1 million students downloads. And I'm very happy to say that at Galvanize Global Education, I've been part of the test preparation and the admissions team that designs the journey to take a lot of students to study abroad and help them achieve their goal of getting their graduate degree abroad. So let's dive right in. What is AI? Well, first let's look at what is the impact of AI. We've all seen a lot of sci-fi movies. We all have our own hopes and concerns on AI. Let me talk to you what people in the industry talk about it, that AI is going to change the world more than anything else in the history of mankind, even more than electricity, says Dr. Kai-Fu Lee, who was the co-founder of Microsoft Research Asia and the former president of Google China. So why is AI viewed as so impactful? Think of the change that the Industrial Revolution brought to humanity, and then think of the change that information revolution brought to us, right? Ever since we had engines, we could have machines that would free certain part of labor. And then we had information flow, and that took us one more step. And now AI is built on top of those two, but it extends it further. And it can do things that we would normally think that only humans can. So this is a big change. This is a big change for everybody. Are we prepared to embrace the change? And AI is not the only change that's happening, by the way. There's virtual reality, which is happening. There's some would say in the near future, quantum computing might be a possibility. There's a lot of technological innovation happening right now. And no one is at power to say that this shall not be done, right? It's happening around the world. So either you're part of it or you're going to be left behind. So what is this change that we're talking about? Let me dive in by giving you a brief history of how AI evolved in the first place. This is pretty interesting, to be honest. And you will be surprised that there was a period in our history in the 20th century where people thought that AI could never, ever happen. They tried and they failed. So let's actually check this out. In 1952, Alan Turing came up with the Turing test. And it's a very cute, very insightful principle. And it's about whether a machine can converse with you in a way that a human would not know who is at the other end, whether it's a human or a machine, right? And that kind of a conversation means it passes the Turing test. Some would say that many of today's AI has actually passed the Turing test, for sure. Then around the same time, there was a self-learning checkers program where it was not like the rules were encoded so firmly, but it actually started learning by looking at the opponent's moves. And in 1956, at Dartmouth, by the way, which is an Ivy League university to which we have sent a lot of students, the term artificial intelligence was first coined by the scientist John McCarthy. Hardly a decade later, there was a student from MIT. He was one of the early programmers for natural language processing. And then in 1966, the first chatbot came up. This was, it was called Shaky. This happened at Stanford. And the ELIZA was also there. And then in Japan in 1972, the first intelligent humanoid robot, right? Until Japan, you saw that they were all mostly computers, and suddenly you have something that's moving and has all the sensor, the servo motors and so on. So that's something pretty, you can see why robotics is such a part of Japanese the milieu. Fast forward, this is called the AI winter, right? There were some years where everybody thought AI was dead because all the preceding efforts had not yielded anything really substantial. They seemed very childish and amateur in terms of their capabilities. So people thought AI was over. And after a long time, you suddenly have IBM's Deep Blue, right? The first computer to defeat world chess champion Garry Kasparov. That was world-shaking news, right? Now this machine can do stuff. And pretty much after that, people started harnessing the capabilities. You have the the room cleaning robot by the company Roomba. Then 2006, companies like Facebook, Twitter, Netflix start incorporating AI. And then later, Apple launches Siri and so on. So these were the early days of AI that some of you might be more familiar with, right? And later on, Google got into the game as well. And then you have your first chatbot that wins the Turing test. And then a few years back, Uber brings in self-driving cars. Now, many companies are bringing them. And then you have the ChatGPT. And of course, you have Claude, you have Mistral, you have now all of these AI engines, right? Because a lot of evolution has happened behind the scenes, to be honest. The very first concept of AI in the 60s and 70s, such as Professor Marvin Minsky, they thought of neural networks, right? But then back then, you did not have enough data. You needed tons and tons of data for you to sufficiently train an AI system effectively. But now, after the smartphone, is when a lot of data started getting accumulated. And when these were fed into these systems by the very same companies that make our mobile apps or our mobile devices, guess what? Suddenly their AI systems started to click in place. And that's where we find ourselves today. So AI is actually being rolled out for various applications as we speak. There are reports of AI being used in the legal process, being used by the judiciary, by judges, because they have so many cases and they really want to, process them quickly and effectively. AI is, of course, self-driving cars are already there. There is some interesting research that takes your facial expressions and then tries to ascertain with some percentage of probability whether you're speaking the truth or not. Here's another very interesting chatbot which I like, which is to inspire wise life choices. It's about the future you. What would you tell the younger yourself, right? Now that you know so much about life, so how can you try and include that? So there's no limit to the kinds of applications of AI. There's robots that are now being trained to chop vegetables, robots that can cook, at least support you in cooking. There are actually systems in medicine is a fantastic area of application. I've done some projects in AI for image processing there, where I've worked on detecting osteoporosis from an X-ray by training the system on a lot of such images, and that's essentially your training data. So there is no limit to the area or the scope of application. It's all about how carefully you go about it, how ethical one's considerations are, and the data that you feed, and then the algorithms that you use, and of course the hardware. And all of you know how NVIDIA stock has gone up like crazy. So these are some of the current trends. You have generative AI, which actually creates new things, and that can be used anywhere from art creation to drug discovery. Personally, I prefer stuff like drug discovery and, love for humans to do their own art. But, hey, then you have multimodal AI, where it can take in multiple input types. And then, for example, sentiment analysis is an option. Medical diagnosis, where it can take blood test reports, MRI scans, and temperature, blood pressure, and so on, and then combine all of them and give a diagnosis. Then you have AI-driven cybersecurity. There's, of course, hyper-automation. We're seeing a lot of that, especially abroad. And there is an area of research called shadow AI, unforeseen consequences, unintended behavior of AI systems, identifying and mitigating biases, and at the same time being true to history. But then what is history? Some of you might have seen Google Gemini, the initial days, how they had to take down the image facility there. And of course, we hope that as much as possible, if these are open source and the tools and frameworks are available, it's possible that some of you might actually harness these in a constructive way and build things which are very positive for society. So these are some of the current trends, folks. So I hope that gave you a brief summary into the history and the applications of AI. And now I'm going to go into the similarities and trends of certain areas which are closely related, but not exactly the same. And you should pay careful attention here, because all of these are very useful career choices. So first, AI itself, it's a science and the engineering, and some would say the art, of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs, and I really hope that extends to robotics and cars as well. It is similar to it's basically related to reflecting the thinking task, the intelligence of humans, and trying to make computers replicate that. And it supports three very important needs: automating business processes. And by that, I don't just mean business processes. Just like how a washing machine helps you wash clothes at home, it would be so helpful if AI can do some of the additional drudgery on the home front, right? And then gaining insight to make decisions by looking at data. And nowadays, AI also engages with customers and employees. And I'm sure all of us have interacted with chatbots or voice bots at some point of time. So these are just a few applications. Now, moving on, what is machine learning? Like, a lot of people think that AI and machine learning are one and the same. There are slight differences. Machine learning is actually a part of AI, right? It's the core, the algorithmic part, I would say, and then the AI is the application part of it. So here for example, the learning part, learning actually means that every time you do the same activity, you use your feedback to produce better outcomes the next time. right? So this is where the learning part is encoded. And this is the foundational building block of AI, coupled with, of course, tons of good quality data, as well as super fast hardware data, chipsets, right? Now let's move on to data science. Data science is actually a multidisciplinary field. Here you take a large amounts of raw and sometimes structured data, and then you clean it and you enhance it, and basically you shape it in such a way that it can help answer certain questions, or make predictions in very core areas, right? Again, data science is basically, a lot of people, experts would say, it's just a fancy name for statistics, right? So high-end statistics, now that you have tons of data, when you apply top-notch statistics to data, then that's data science. So you should be really good at math to get into data science. Data science is not about finding specific answers to your questions. That is the domain of data analytics. Data science is more about finding, hey, what are the most important questions that I can ask this data? What is it telling me, right? What are the salient aspects? What is jumping out? What conclusions can I draw? So this is data science, which is slightly different from data analytics, because data analytics is about using data science to solve specific business challenges. So just like machine learning is a part of AI and machine learning is the core, here data science is the core though, and data analytics is the application part of data science, right? So here once the data is cleaned up and ready for analysis, we actually use it to ask questions, business intelligence, for example, right? You can, it's not everything can be answered with spreadsheets. So hidden patterns in the data can be found out, and they can be used to make business decisions, or for that matter, other decisions. And they will, data analytics in any domain is extremely helpful. So depending on the organization, right? You will have to, in economics has applications, in sociology has applications. So any domain can benefit from all of these, right? So these are, this is just to give you a whirlwind tour. Now, in all of these fields, you should definitely will benefit from knowing some programming. Python has emerged as one of the best and most consistent languages for all these fields. And SQL, database querying, and data visualization is a very important part of data analytics, right? There is tons of data, but how do you visualize, and how can you see things in such a way that you can quickly draw your conclusion? So these are all super important. But I hope that now you got some idea about these areas, right? How artificial intelligence is a very broad area, and that is powered by machine learning, which in turn, by the way, is powered by deep learning, right? That's when you throw a lot of data and then it starts assimilating information from that. For example, how, you can give a photograph to Midjourney or DALL-E and ask it to generate images in different styles. So each style is literally a number. So because it got so much data, the deep learning has created a style space, right? Where you can look at the same picture in different styles. So there is now a style space. And so this is this part of the world. And then when you go to data science, data analytics, data analysis, these are, in a startup, the same person could be doing all three. In larger and larger companies, the data scientist would be a different person from the data analyst, right? So the data analyst uses UI or tools to query, but the underlying power is given by the data science. So I hope this gave you a broad idea. Please do let us know in the chat if this part of the session was useful for you in making the distinction between these fields, right? So you have to think through which of these fields you want to specialize in. Of course, there are common areas, there are common courses across these areas. They're not completely different. They're not airtight silos, but you should use your aptitude and your skills to help decide which area is best for you, right? So moving on. Here is a quick way to help you understand how these aspects are different with different applications. So I hope really this gave you an idea. And now we have our first poll. So since you're all attending a seminar on Masters in AI, I'm very curious to know, what is your primary motivation for pursuing your Masters in Artificial Intelligence? Is it to advance your career? Is it because you're interested in research, interested in pushing the boundaries of AI? Is it because you want to switch your career and start a new career in AI? Or is it just personal curiosity and interest, genuine interest? Time's ticking. Please let me know what you think. Wonderful. Thank you. It looks like all of you are more or less, all the choices have pretty good amount of feedback and takers for each aspect. So that's great. That's great. So awesome. Now let's proceed into the core of our session today, which is, what is the importance of a master's degree in AI? And in fact, many of you said you want to start a career in AI, you want to change your career, you want to do research. So for all of these, a master's degree in AI is going to be super helpful for you. Why do I say so? Firstly, a master's in AI is a strategic investment in your future, a strategic investment in your career, because once you successfully complete this course, you will be qualified to take up certain job opportunities. And companies that recruit will understand that you can help solve their business problems. The second part is, a master's in AI will equip you not only with the theoretical framework, but also a lot of practical projects and hands-on experience. And you will understand what it really means. It all looks so different from the outside. But what is it going to be when I actually go inside and I have to solve a problem or I have to work on a project? So you will get hands-on training, which will be very helpful for you in your career. Thirdly, the next set of jobs which open up in the field of AI, they will require a master's degree specializing in AI, right? Because a lot of the bachelor's degree in AI, especially in India, is really not proven yet. Whereas if you were to do a master's degree abroad, especially in the US or Europe, in countries that have pioneered AI in the first place, then the organizations that hire you know that what you have done is high quality stuff, and they know that they can bank on your skills to help them grow and deliver their outcomes. So I find all of this pretty interesting, and I hope you feel the same way too. So continuing our session on why, there's this very interesting link which you should talk about, which gives you a lot more context below. So I will just summarize a few things, right? Because AI is so revolutionary, this is the generation that needs to grapple and get your hands around the concept and subject and apply it, or else risk getting left behind. So this is also going to make it much better for you to get employable. The AI market by 2025, they're estimating it's almost a $200 billion industry. And not many universities offer a master's in AI, but this number is expected to increase rapidly. So the good universities have them though, right? And if not AI, they definitely have a master's in computer science with a specialization in AI. And that has its own advantages, because whether you do a master's in AI or a master's in computer science specializing in AI, in both cases, you can work as an AI developer, an AI engineer. But if you do a master's in computer science with a specialization in AI, in addition, you can also work as a software engineer or in networking or databases. So it just opens up more job opportunities for you. So you have to decide which opportunity is better for you. And so when I talk about MS in computer science, specializing in AI versus a master's in AI, please note that in In the former, you get a broad computer science foundation. For example, you will have a lot of core computer science courses. You may take a course on operating systems. You may take a course on compiler design, right, on algorithms. And you will have also many courses in AI. A master's in AI, you're unlikely to have to take a computer science course like compiler design or operating systems, but definitely you will dive deep into AI theory, neural networks, applications, generative AI, self-learning, classifiers, and so on. But both fields are heavy in math. And personally, if you ask me, I think an MS in AI is heavier in math, some would say, than in computer science. You have to be super strong in linear algebra, and in data science, you have to be super strong in statistics. So math is very important in both, right? So the former has a wider career path, like I mentioned earlier, and a master's in AI is a more specialized career path, right? So we talked about the prerequisites, to what extent math and statistics are important for AI, and a good computer science undergraduation will help you for a master's in computer science. What if you don't have an undergrad in computer science? Well, you can definitely still do a master's in software engineering. You can do a master's in AI. You can do masters in data science, data analytics, and so on. Right? So I hope this gives you the context as to what is the difference between these two degrees. This is a very important question, and I hope I was able to give you some clarity right here. Now it's time for the second poll. Personally, what do you feel is the biggest challenge you face when it comes to learning AI? I'm sure some of you have tried or at least thought about it, looked into it. Some very interesting answers. Every choice is getting lots of hits. Understanding complex algorithms seems to be the leader, and lack of hands-on experience is the next one. Together, these two are taking up more than 60 to 70% of the answer choices. That is so important, because what you've just nailed is the understanding complex algorithms basically means the theory behind AI, and hands-on experience is the practical part of AI. So doing a master's program will equip you with both the theory as well as the practical part, right? So that is the advantage of taking this opportunity. Awesome. So what do you do for your background preparation and prerequisites? What kind of background of students are the universities looking for a master's in AI? So first, you have to really think about this, and definitely our admission counselors will also go through all these aspects with you, right? First, so at Galvanize, you would want to know what initially sparked your interest in AI. Is it just that it's the coolest thing, it's the new kid on the block? Or is it something deeper, more substantial? Are you determined to find a cure to a disease or for a disease or something? So what sparked your interest in AI? Second, what excites you the most about the field of AI? Is it the applications, the variety of applications? Is it the social aspect, the ethical aspect, and so on? Do you enjoy problem solving, tackling complex challenges? And this, my friend, as I have been saying, is very important. How comfortable are you with mathematics and statistics? 5, how would you describe your computer programming skills? Programming in Python, programming in R, SQL, databases. And are you comfortable adapting to a rapidly evolving field? What kind of career do you envision for yourself in AI? These are some of the questions that we ask our students, and it's very important for us to know in what specific aspect of AI you're particularly interested in. Or is it image processing? Is it natural language processing, NLP? Is it robotics? Is it computer vision? There's so many aspects, right? There's sentiment analysis, for example. So what aspect of AI are you interested in? So you have to think about these things, right? And you have to write about them later on in your statement of purpose. So we can guide you on all of this, but the answers to these 4 questions is something that you should come up with after doing a lot of introspection and research. So Now I'm getting into your application profile, right? So now that you're ready to apply for a master's in AI, what is your application profile today? Are you looking to go as an engineer, or are you projecting yourself to the university as a researcher? Both of these are important, both of these are useful. And an engineer is passionate about building practical AI solutions that will be used by people, by organizations, and will have real world applications. A researcher is interested in pushing the boundaries of AI knowledge. So a researcher might actually work at OpenAI, for example. They might help in extending the large language models. They might find ways to, adapt AI to, to bring strengths from different fields and expand the possibilities of AI in a fundamental way. So you have to really think through which of these is you. Not everybody is both. And you have to also articulate, why did you choose this? What aspects of your life, your academic and professional journey, and your own personality have led you to conclude that this is the better path for you. So these are some aspects that you want to really think through. Very, very important. And remember, ChatGPT cannot make you an AI expert. The more you use ChatGPT, the more expert an AI it becomes. But how do you become an AI expert? Right? That's why you're here, to learn how to do a master's degree in AI. So let's come to the academics part of it. A strong foundation in a quantitative field is helpful. A bachelor's degree in computer science is ideal, but it is definitely not mandatory. We have guided many students at Galvanize who haven't had a bachelor's in CS, but they have also moved on to do a master's in AI. And you should have done some relevant coursework. If you remember, I talked a lot about mathematics. So you should have excelled in courses like linear algebra, calculus, probability theory, statistics. These are super important, and these are something that you need to have a very intuitive grasp on. For example, linear algebra is not just matrices and determinants and calculating the dot product and stuff. You have to understand what a space means, what an eigen vector means. You have to be able to understand why a KL transform is useful. What is SVD? These are fundamental linear algebra concepts that were developed, pretty much, generations ago. But they are the underpinning aspect of AI, because those linear algebra concepts are being used to handle the large amounts of data that we have today. So make sure that you are very, very comfortable in these fields. It's not enough to just know these from an application standpoint. You have to be able to solve real world problems in these. You have to have an intuitive sense for these fields, right? For example, this is you should be very comfortable with working with vectors, with statistics. These are, you have to be comfortable with manipulating matrix. You have to understand what it's actually doing, not just throw some numbers into it and spit it out. You have to understand what is convolution, why a convolutional neural network, and so on and so forth, right? What is back propagation? And you have to be very familiar with these concepts. So please make sure that you have a good background. And universities abroad do like to take students from diverse backgrounds. So if you have a computer science background, that's great. If you have a STEM background, and how many of you have a STEM background or a computer science background? Well, computer science is a part of STEM. So how many of you have a STEM background? Do let us know in the chat. And how many of you do not have a STEM background? Let's say you have a humanities background, or you have a business background. This is less common for a master's in AI. And unless you're very, very motivated to and you have the comfort level with math, I would encourage you to consider masters, say in business analytics, for example, right? So these are some aspects to think about. So you really want to think through all of these, right? All right. What are the skills that are essential? I think by now you would have an idea. What are the math skills you need? what are the and statistics is well, some would say it's a part of math, of course, but it's a huge field in and of itself. And programming not just in R and Python. Sometimes if you want to work on the application side, other languages would be useful. And definitely problem solving, higher order thinking skills, creativity, analytical skills. And of course, to succeed in any profession in the long run, to climb up the ladder, you need to have great communication, leadership, teamwork, and set a good culture in the organization, right? So now that we've talked about that, I'm so curious to know which industries you are most interested in applying the knowledge of AI to. Come on, just a few more seconds left. It's okay if you change your mind later. Wonderful. So almost half of you are interested in applying AI within technology itself, for example, within software, within robotics, and so on. And I'm so excited and grateful that the next most popular answer is healthcare. And that is wonderful because we will all be benefiting at a fundamental level, right? And all of the other answer choices are great. So thank you so much for answering this question. So what will you be learning in your master's in AI? Let's look at the curriculum and the learning outcomes. These are some of the subjects that you will be taking. These are the courses. Remember, courses are not just theory. There will be a lot of practical hands-on projects that you will be doing. Some could be individual projects, some could be group projects, some could lead to a publication. There are AI hackathons now, and so on. So I'm going to quickly scroll through them so we have more time for some of the other sections, but you can read as we go along, or you can take a screenshot as well. So these are some of the courses that you will be pursuing in your master's in AI. The practical components. Well, like I said, lots of real-world projects, group projects, internships, and research opportunities will be under your nose and hands. So you have to make use of them. And what can you expect to learn? Like I said, a very strong theoretical foundation, especially data science, statistics, and machine learning. But again, my friend, you need to have a good comfort level with math and logic in the first place, right? Second, hands-on skills, thanks to all the projects you'll be doing. So you'll be building, training, deploying AI models for different purposes. A lot of problem-solving approach, especially if you are more interested as an engineer, and for that matter, even a researcher. And in the process of showcasing your work and even coming up with your work, you will be working with a lot of different people. So that is in terms of what the outcomes are. So now that you're ready to apply for a master's in AI, what are the required documents, or what will go in your application, right? So what are the required parts of your application? If you're applying to the US, GRE scores can be extremely helpful because the GRE basically gives universities an opportunity to objectively assess you. In other words, the GPAs of the scoring system and the examination system in different universities in your home country can be so different around the world. So the GRE is conducted the same way across the world, but please take the test at an actual physical test center. Strongly recommend you not to take the test from your home, because many universities that we know of are asking they're only giving provisional admission and asking the candidates to retake the GRE at a physical test center. So strong GRE scores on the math and verbal will help you a lot. The same goes for IELTS and the TOEFL scores. These are the English language and tests that will prove to the university that you can read, write, speak, and listen and communicate effectively in English. Galvanize offers online courses for both of these. These courses have been personally designed by me, and they come with a personalized study plan. So every day you will know what you need to do on that day. And you also have unlimited Ask an Expert. So you can ask any number of questions and get them clarified. And it comes with mock tests as well. So that's in terms of the GRE and the English language test. And of course, you need to have a very polished and crisp resume projecting your strong points. Then the statement of purpose and additional essays that the university might ask you. So a statement of purpose is again a very important part of your application, and I will come to it along with the LORs or the letters of recommendation, and of course the transcripts from your college. Some of you who have done AI projects or other projects if you have write-ups of your projects, PDFs or blog posts or videos, you can add links to those in your resume itself. So first, let's dive into the GRE. So the exam fee is around this range, and the time for the test is more or less 2 hours, and it has the verbal reasoning section and the quant reasoning section, right? So I've given you the time and the number of questions there. You can take the test up to 5 times in one calendar year with a minimum gap of 21 days between consecutive attempts. But since you have to shell out money for the test, why not prepare really well and then take the test just once? So this is something that you want to think about. But in case on the test day you're not feeling well or something, then you can always take it again later, right? So that's in terms of the GRE. And coming to the English language test for the IELTS and TOEFL. So many schools will require these because they want to make sure you can communicate effectively in English. And here's the time required for these tests. You will be tested on speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And in terms of the IELTS, because IELTS involves meeting a person face-to-face and talking to them for the speaking section of the IELTS, you can expect to spend almost 1 day at the test center. TOEFL, everything happens online, and you speak into a microphone that gets recorded and later graded, so you don't have to really meet a person, right? So this is in terms of these exams. And again, strongly encourage you to take some practice, maybe a couple of mock tests at least, or some preparation, because even though you might be a very fluent English speaker, but the format of the test may need some getting accustomed to. Hence, we recommend not only our GRE courses, with GRE definitely need a lot of preparation, but also for TOEFL and IELTS, we have shorter courses for around 30 days or 15 days. Okay, so one very interesting point I want to share is the organization that creates the TOEFL and administers the TOEFL worldwide is called ETS. It's the Educational Testing Service based out of New Jersey, USA. And I'm so happy to share that Galvanize Global Education is a premier partner of ETS. And therefore, we are eligible to provide discounts and promotional offers for you. We can actually reduce the cost of your TOEFL exam. So please reach us, and you can also fill up a link that we have just for this purpose, and you can get the discount code. So now let's dive into some of the other aspects that I talked about. So I think you all know what a resume is, but please make sure that it is brief information and it's not too lengthy, right? It must be brief. It basically, just because you have a long resume, like 4 or 5 pages, doesn't at all improve your chances of admission. You have to carefully pick which are the better aspects to be showcased in your resume, right? So try to keep it in 1 page, at the latest 2 pages. So you should be able to summarize and helping you identify which aspects of your journey go into your resume and which ones go into your SOP is something definitely we can help you at Galvanize. That's one of the first things that we do as soon as you join us, right? So that is in terms of the resume. Now, what about the statement of purpose? If I'm giving a resume, why do I need to give a statement of purpose? So a resume tells the reader what you did, where you did, and when you did it. It does not tell the reader why you did it. How did you do it? What challenges did you meet, and how did you overcome them? In future, how are you planning to extend these projects? How did your journey evolve from project A to project B to project C? How did you make your decisions, right? So these are all part of the SOP, the statement of purpose, because it gives your background and it helps the university understand why you are inclined towards that subject and what you have done in your academic and your professional journey to prove your interest and to develop your interest in that subject, and what are the challenges you faced and how you collaborated, and what are your future aspirations. Why do you want to study at that particular university? Why do you want to study AI? What problems are you going to solve with it? Some of you talked about, I want to use AI in the automation field. I want to use AI in healthcare. So what specific problems are you interested in tackling? What facilities and lab and infrastructure and research groups of the university are you planning to harness in order to develop these aspirations of yours? So all of these you're going to write in an SOP, and my friend, is just 1 to 1.5 pages long. So it can't be too lengthy. And that is why at Galvanize, we make sure that we understand fully what it is that you have done. We know that many students, especially from Asia or Africa, have not had the experience of writing their essays about themselves from scratch. Hence, we ask you questions. It can be a simple Google form where we ask you a bunch of questions, small questions, and then you can write whatever you want, how much ever you want. And then we will take all of that, and then we will craft a narrative for you, which explains to the university all these things in a very convincing sequence with the right examples. So we can help you create, draft, and polish your statement of purpose solely based on the inputs given by you. Now, this is very important. A lot of organizations say, you don't worry about the SOP, we will write it for you completely. What they're doing is they're just templatizing an SOP, and you will not get an original essay for yourself. So universities have plagiarism detection algorithms, and many of those AI powered, by the way, nowadays. So if your essay is flagged off by the algorithm, then that will, it basically means they will not consider your application to move to the next stage. So why risk your future? You want to make sure your essay is written from scratch for you, and that is definitely one of the services we offer at Galvanize, and we have done it for scores of students. So, and next, moving on to the letters of recommendation. So before we get to the letters of recommendation, though, there are some other types of essays that I want to talk about. One is the diversity statement. Nowadays, universities want to know how you would make their cohort or your, when you take all your classmates together, how would you add to the diversity pool there? Then there is a research statement, especially those of you who want to do a doctorate or a PhD in AI, or a very intensive research master's in AI research, or master's with honors in research. Then you have to write up a research statement which talks about which goes into the problem that you want to solve, the techniques that you have explored, and further which techniques and methods you're interested in trying out. Some of you may even be asked to write a personal history statement. Sometimes this is optional, where you talk about your specific life situation. Some of you actually have a very unique circumstance, or you have overcome some harsh setbacks in life, and therefore you should take the advantage of this essay to write down your story, so the university can look at your profile in an overall way, and they understand how many challenges, what kind of difficulties you overcame. Right? So additionally, another type of essay is called the scholarship essay. And here, you may have to explain why you deserve the scholarship money and how it's going to help you meet your long-term goals. So not every university asks all these essays, but many do. And you may need to, you will need support and guidance, and definitely your editor at Galvanize will be able to guide you and support you throughout all of this. Now coming to the letters of recommendation, or the LOR. These are very important because the university can not just get your perspective, but they will also assess you in terms of what a faculty member or your head of the department or your internship manager or your manager at work, what do they feel about you, right? They will want to know what have you done, like what activities you have done and how have you done them, what strengths did you demonstrate in the process, what weaknesses do you have, and it is natural to have 1 or 2 weaknesses. And so when your professor or your manager writes about you, they should not just keep on praising you in an LOR. That looks very artificial, and any praise has to be accompanied by some justification, actual examples which they can talk about. So this is again very, very important. So now we come to our fourth goal. Now that you're so eager to go about your admission process for your master's, how do you intend to seek assistance for admission counseling? So when you look at the title, intent for AC, the AC there stands for admission counseling. Are you solely going to rely on your friends and family, irrespective of how many people they have successfully guided? Or do you want to take guidance from a professional who has helped hundreds, if not thousands of students, like what we have done at Galvanize? Or are you just going to do it by yourself, maybe by looking at the internet and getting some options? So I'm really eager to know what kind of professional support or any other kinds of support you're going to take up. So I'm so excited, and I'm very happy. It warms my heart to see that more than half of you, almost the majority of you, the vast majority, want Galvanize to help you in this process. That gladdens my heart because, when I went to Stanford, I found that a lot of students haven't gotten the right advice. And so when I came back to India and I started Galvanize, it was so important for me that Galvanize becomes a vehicle to help students get the right professional recommendations, which puts the students' interest first, right? It's not just about the business or the company. It's actually because it's a student, because it's somebody's future. Because in the past, I was one such student. Many of my teammates have also studied abroad and come back, and we see ourselves in the students that we guide. And therefore, I'm so happy to know that you're there to help us fulfill our purpose in this journey. Thank you. So let's move on to the next part. A lot of you have asked us about funding or scholarship. So I'm going to quickly talk to you about this. There are three common funding options. One is financial funding from the university usually, but sometimes also from other organizations. Sometimes it could be scholarships from organizations in India or the Indian government even. But these are all called scholarships. Another common option nowadays is an education loan, and companies are happy to give education loans because they know that you're going to be, especially if they know the kind of program that you will be doing and the career options in those universities. And then thirdly, you have personal or family funds, which are also, your savings maybe, and these are part of the another way to fund. So these are some of the different aspects in terms of funding. So let's actually look at scholarships in detail. A fellowship is the most sought after. It's hard to get, and universities typically give fellowships only to students that they really want to join their campus, because in a fellowship, you don't have to do any kind of work for the university. You see, unlike a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship where you have to work for the university for a minimum of 20 hours a week, usually not more than that also. And where you can, in a teaching assistantship, you can help a professor teach a course. That means you must be very good in the subject, and your English communication skills should be fantastic. So your TOEFL or IELTS score has to be awesome. And in a research assistantship, you will be helping a professor or conduct research by being part of their lab and so on. So it's going to be very interesting as well. And if you want to do a PhD, you should definitely look to doing a little bit of both, maybe one each semester. Right now, it's only in the US, for example, they have very strict rules about working while you're studying, and you can only work for 20 hours a week, that too on campus during the term. And in the summer break, you can do a full-time job for 40 hours a week. That's an internship. Now, there are other countries where they don't have these restrictions. Even when you're a student, you can still work off campus and you can earn money that way. Although we strongly recommend that you keep as much time as you can for your studies, as opposed to doing too many other jobs that involve a lot of travel or time commitment, right? So what can you do to increase your chances of scholarship? My friend, try to have a fantastic profile. That means high GRE, GPA score, a great, impressive statement of purpose, outstanding letters of recommendation, cutting-edge projects and internships in your field of interest that show that you're already passionate about this area. And in case you have any extra feathers in your cap, such as a paper publication, or in some of the cases, even a patent, these will all be very, very helpful for you. So now about the timeline. A lot of people think that I will start applying for my master's in my 4th year of college. That can be quite late. And what about the test preparation, right? That is something you can do even earlier. So let's actually look into these very specific timelines that we recommend. I will start with the fall 25 intake. Now, I hope you know that fall and spring are the two most common semesters where admissions are accepted and the courses start. And this is for most universities around the world. So fall 25 means your coursework will start in August or September of 2025. That means you should have completed all your test preparation way before. So your GRE, you should have completed long back. If you can see, I've given a big window for GRE, not because the GRE preparation is going to take so much time personally, but mainly because if you get it done with in your second year, or if you get it done with in your third year, that's great, because then you can focus the rest of the time on building your profile, on your internships and projects and so on, right? So after the summer between your third year and fourth year, you really got to just focus on your applications, because application portals open up as early as August, September 2024. So 1 year ahead, the application portal will open up. The sooner you submit your application, the faster they're going to start processing it in most universities. And that means if they have any scholarships and they really like your profile, they want you to attend, they might disperse it. But the later you send it, if you send it just before the deadline, on the day of the deadline, well, they're going to have so many applications that pour in at the same time as yours. And so they won't have enough time to do justice to your application. So we always tell our students to apply early and apply confidently. Make sure you have everything prepared well in advance, right? So that means your statement of purpose, letters of recommendation, essays, everything should be done by the summer of 2024. So you can start uploading your application in August, September, October. This is especially for the top universities. There are some universities whose application portal itself opens only in January. Those may not necessarily be the highly ranked, but they may also be very good universities. So you will apply depending on the application deadline, you will apply at different time periods, right? So if you've applied before December, you will likely hear your admission decisions as early as Jan and Feb or March at the latest. And then you will make sure that the other formalities are done between April, May, and June. And then you can fly out in July, August, or September is when you'll do all the pre-departure formalities. So this is the timeline if you're aiming for the fall 25 intake. If you're a working professional, this applies to you too. Just make sure you get great recommendation letters from your college as well as from your previous employers. Moving on to the fall 2026 intake, and feel free to take a screenshot. These here we have explained what the timing could be for someone who is starting today. We are now in June 2024, and if you're aiming for fall 2026. Does that mean that if you start today, you can't go for fall 25? That's not true. You can, but you must start right now. Because if you're starting your process right now and we're in June of 24 and you want to start your course abroad in August of 25, you have to start right now. You can't waste a moment. So you have to start like today. Okay. Don't have much time. We can do it though. So now that you understand what the process is, you understand what universities look at, you know the timeline. Imagine you have got your admission, you're studying at the university, you're fantastic, you've learned a lot, you've done great courses, and now we're looking for career opportunity. So let's look at what are the industry demands. There is a wealth of career opportunities, both in the core research as well as application areas such as finance, healthcare, automotive, and so on. So there are lots more areas than just a few that I have mentioned here, right? So these are some aspects that you can, like I said, be very clear which area you want to work in, or you want to be a core researcher in the technology behind AI. What about a machine learning engineer? Again, similar areas. There's a good job security. Companies are increasingly relying on machine learning, and you will be able to build, train, and deploy machine learning models to solve real-world problems. So I'm giving you some examples of what skills you would have learned, and these are some starting salaries that you might expect, particularly in the US. What about an AI research scientist? Again, the demand is high, especially in research institutions and tech companies that do cutting edge research. This is ideal for top researchers, especially if you want to also publish. It does require a PhD. So one of you want to know, hey, what about a PhD in AI? There's definitely a lot of scope for you in terms of job applications. And as an AI researcher, you will be developing novel, that means new, it's just a fancy researcher word for new AI algorithms, explore cutting edge applications, and of course, a lot of publishing and networking with fellow scientists, and basically pushing the boundaries that the rest of us consumers will actually use in our daily lives. We can again see some of the salary potential here. How about an AI product manager? Again, growing demand, because the outcome of a research cannot be directly given to consumers. It has to be shaped into a product that they can interface with, interact with, and utilize, and basically where it satisfies meaningful purpose in their lives. So how do you turn the AI, underlying AI capability into a product that people would love to use and benefit from? So these are some of the aspects that a product manager would be working on. And as you can see, the pay is extremely good, because to some extent, they are the lens through which the consumer will actually experience your product. So that's the AI product manager, along with the UX as well. What about an AI architect as a career opportunity? Again, it's in growing demand, because companies are trying to integrate AI into their existing systems. So if they've already got a huge telecalling facility for handling customer support, it's already there. How can you architect things in such a way that you can sort of plug and play the AI in between? And these are some things that an AI architect would do. They would build the technical infrastructure, large-scale AI systems. This is where you start getting, you also need expertise in cloud computing, DevOps, distributed systems, and of course, a deep understanding of AI algorithms. Again, it's a highly competitive, great job, right? So again, just to give you, there are some more job options. There's a robotics engineer, data scientist. Like I said, data science is a little different from AI, but again, related fields. I just wanted to give you an idea. So I hope this section was useful to you as well. Now, if it's so attractive, is it so easy to get in? Well, it's actually extremely competitive, right? Especially a data scientist or being an advanced analytics requires, or an AI researcher requires a lot of qualification, right? So by completing a master's program, you will be able to get these job opportunities, and especially make sure that you pick a field that you love working in. So because companies will use your output to drive their decisions as well as the decisions of their customers. Now for an interesting topic, a very important topic at that, quite close to my heart. Is AI a threat to humans? I recently came across this quote, which I just love, and it's been something that I have also thought about a lot, which is, I want AI to do my laundry, to do my dishes, to do my housework, so that I can do art and writing and creating music and so on. And not for AI to do my art and writing and music so that I can do my laundry and dishes and housework. That's very true. Just because there's a lot of data that helps to feed, that you can feed into AI. There's a lot of artwork and novels and writings and that have fed in, that therefore it's able to spawn out very creative looking images or writings, doesn't mean that's the best use of AI. We want AI to help us live better lives as humans. So not for it to overtake us after competing with us and then beating us at our own game. So complete autonomy for an AI system is not the desired goal, right? As humans, we are social animals, and we believe we have a larger purpose in life. And our strength comes from working together and being in touch with our own humanity. So personally, I feel that at the end of the day, the success of AI will be measured not just by how smartly it can outwit a human, but by how it has empowered people to live better, more satisfying lives. And that is the value that AI should add. And I really hope that that is something that you have also thought about and that it speaks to you as well. So do let me know in the chat if this is something that you're interested in, that you feel about and you feel passionately about. So I now come to the final part of my presentation for today, which I think is personally for me the most satisfying part, because here I will be walking you through my students and what they came to us with, what we did for and what outcome we achieved for them, and so on. So this is very important. It can give you an idea of what you can do with your admission counseling at Galvanize, with your GRE test prep at Galvanize, with your TOEFL or IELTS at Galvanize. What is it that you can do to help achieve your goal? So let's dive in. So here I have, this is one of my students. His name is Harish. He's from IIIT DM Kanchipuram and BS in Computer Science. Very good profile. You can see his GPA is 9.6. GRE score is 325. That's a great score. TOEFL score is almost 110. That's 107. That's fantastic. These are some of the projects that he did as part of his application process. So this is something that he did out of his own interest. And you can see he actually did a project under the Planck Institute for Informatics in Germany. You can see again, modulo simple linear arithmetic, that's hardcore linear algebra. And like I said, is very important in AI. Here's another, it's the fellowship that he was awarded for his internship. You can see what he's done. And he got accepted to the University of Waterloo. I don't know if you know this, but the University of Waterloo in Canada is the world's top, one of the world's top 3 or 4 universities in the field of computer science. So that's a fantastic achievement for Harish, his family, and also for Galvanize, which I'm very proud of. And here he's doing his master's in data science and artificial intelligence. So good hands, a little show of appreciation for Harish there, even though he's not here right now. Sumedh from VIT Pune. He's also had a very good profile. You can see his GRE scores and his test scores there. These are some of the projects he did. He did a project with NVIDIA. And as you know, NVIDIA is the hottest company in terms of the hardware behind AI. Automatic check processing using image processing, the handwritten check amount and the account number. He's trying to detect it automatically, basically handwriting recognition, to ease the work of manually entering the check details. And that was his artificial intelligence project. He got accepted to do a master's in computer science specializing in AI at the University of Southern California, USC, which is a fabulous university and it has lovely weather. It's located in Los Angeles. Now meet Abdul. He is from SRM in Chennai, and he did his BTech in robotics. Like I said, you don't have to be from a computer science background. This is his academics here. And you can see that he has done projects and internships as well, multiple internships. And his goal was to study in Germany. And this is where he's doing his master's in artificial intelligence. Fourthly, let's meet Siddhant. He's also from Pune. He's from MIT Pune. And these are his scores. And these are some of the activities and projects that he did. You can also do some online courses and certifications, but make sure you do at least 1 or 2 hands-on projects that showcase your interest in actually applying AI. So, for example, he worked on a wildlife conservation chatbot, and then he also developed a Fit Club app for gym operations. That's pretty neat as well. He is doing his master's in AI in none other than San Jose State University, which is located in the heart of Silicon Valley. And I'm sure it's so easy for him to find jobs and internships because some of his faculty members themselves would be from the industry right there. Let's get inspired now by Saurabh. He's from IIT Jammu. And like I said, you don't have to be from a computer science background. Saurabh is from a mechanical engineering background, and he originally hails from Madhya Pradesh. This is his academic profile, and these are some of the projects and activities that Saurabh has worked on. And you can see that he has done a certification with Microsoft. He's a certified data scientist associate. He did an online course with Northwestern University on exploratory data analysis, causal predictive analysis and models. And he is in UK at the City University London with a master's in artificial intelligence. So I'm going to be rushing through some. We have tons of students. I've just taken a few of them today. And the key part that I want you all to take away from the session is if you do all the right things, no matter what your profile in terms of, is your GPA too good or is it okay? Is it average? Like Saurabh's is an average GPA. And I've shown you some people who are toppers in terms of their GPA, right? But you can still get accepted to a good university if you take the right guidance, because the right guidance is someone who has helped lots of students, telling you what you should be doing, in guiding you, giving you the choices and showing you the path and helping you walk the path, right? That is the whole point. So I'll show you some more of our students here real quick. And this is an interesting title for the course. It's an MS in Applied Artificial Intelligence. So right off the bat that this is going to be very practical in terms of what he learns. Stevens Institute of Technology, again, it's a fantastic university established in 1870. Lot of job opportunities for people who graduate from this university. Meet Sumant from Bengaluru, originally hailing from Andhra Pradesh, and he studied in Bangalore. His percentage is 72%. These are some of the courses that he did. And as you can see, he has mainly done online courses in AI. He did not do an AI project as such before he applied to the university, but he did a lot of software projects that showed that he had the basic programming skills. And he got accepted to the University of Groningen for an MS in Artificial Intelligence. So as you can see, our students go to countries all around the world. US is popular, but so is the UK, so is Germany, so is Netherlands, so is Switzerland, so is Ireland, Australia, France, lots of countries, and of course, Canada and Singapore. Meet Naman. He is originally from Shimla, and he studied at Chitkara University in Patiala. This is his academic profile, and these are some of his projects. You can see a very interesting project called the COVID CT software. It enables the creation of 3D reconstruction from CT scans. Right? He is doing his master's in computer science with specialization in AI at Arizona State University. So I hope you're getting a concept in terms of what other students are doing and how we and these are the kinds of students that we have helped get to a success in AI. So I'm going to pause here because we're almost to the end. And though I thoroughly enjoyed this session personally, I want to ask you how you felt about today's session. We're almost done. If you have any answers, please let us know. I'd love to hear what you think. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so happy that 100% of you found this session useful. And I'm like, yes, because that's, my purpose here. It made my day. Thank you so much that you found what I had to share useful for you. So before I wrap up, I want to give you a little tour to Galvanize Global Education. I hope you've understood by now that we provide end-to-end personalized solutions for anyone aspiring to pursue a global degree. End-to-end means we help you build your profile. We guide you on what kinds of projects and courses and internships you should do that will make your profile stand out from your peers. And we do this after thoroughly understanding your needs and goals. So the advice that we would give you would be very personalized. The personalized is everywhere. Our test preparation is personalized, and our admissions counseling is personalized, and we do all degrees. We do bachelor's, master's, doctorate, PhD, MBA certifications. We do admissions for all degrees, and we are founded and managed by a team who went to top universities around the world, and we've helped our students get accepted to more than 1,000 universities across more than 18 countries. These are just a few of the universities that I had the space to showcase here, and you can see so many prestigious universities, so many Ivy Leagues. Cornell is an Ivy League school. Brown is Ivy League. Dartmouth is Ivy League. Columbia, Penn, these are all Ivy League universities. The prestigious University of Cambridge, Johns Hopkins, Toronto, ETH Zurich, University of Chicago, NUS Singapore, Berkeley, UIUC, UCLA, Imperial College London, Carnegie Mellon, Duke, NYU. I mean, there's so many universities. They're all fabulous. And there are many, many more. And our alumni are all over the world right now, and it gives us so much satisfaction to know that they are there doing cool things. And who are the people getting satisfied? Well, the entire Galvanize team, of whom you see the leadership team in front of you. Myself, Pavithra, in the middle there, there's Ram, our CEO, and Shriram, our co-founder and chief architect. Interestingly, Shriram went to the US he did his PhD, he went to New York for his PhD, and halfway through his PhD in New York, he realized that he's more interested in education, in helping the next generation learn, rather than doing research in his particular field of interest. So he came back to India and he joined us. You can see that many of our other team members have also benefited from excellent educational opportunities. Soumya, in fact, has 2 master's degrees, one from IIT Madras and one from San Jose State University. Rohini and Jayanti also have their advanced PhD and MBA degrees from the US. So why I'm sharing this is that it's very important for us to give a great experience to our students. And I would invite my team members to type in the chat window right now the Quora threads, where you can hear what students have to say about their experience at Galvanize. And because many of us in the founding team have actually been in our core team, have studied abroad, experienced the benefits and come back, for you, you're not a customer, you are like our child or our younger self. And what we give our students is what we wish we had when we were undertaking this journey. So if you are excited, you want to get your profile evaluated, you want to talk to one of our study abroad advisors before you decide whether you want to enroll with Galvanize, go ahead. You can scan the QR code or you can click on the link in the chat. And if you have any questions, now is a good opportunity to ask your questions. So our Quora questions are really important. You can read about our admission counseling on Quora. You can read about our test preparation as well. So these are some of the links that I'm sharing with you. Any questions for today? Let me go through the chat and see what specific questions have come earlier in the session. What is the future of PhD in AI? I hope I have covered that. Being an AI researcher is a very high-end job. And it is someone who's pushing the boundaries of research. And if, for example, if you can get AI to do the housework, I can trust you. And if you can scale it up, millions of people all over the world will be thanking you and appreciating you. So there's no end to the scope. And yes, I hope I've answered another question. If you have a master's in mathematics and computing, can you do a PhD in AI? I believe so, but I would have to look at your profile before I can confirm. So please do schedule a profile evaluation. And it'll be great if you could do some online courses or certifications or an AI project as well. That would be great. Any other questions that you have for me on this session? Okay, you want to apply to MIT in the Masters in AI program, but your CGPA is just 6.8. Ouch, that's a low CGPA. Unless you have excelled in all the other aspects, and the only reason for your CGPA being so low is because you have spent all your time and energy in research, in doing projects and fantastic internships. You've won lots of hackathons, you've published papers that compensate for this GPA. And if you get a fantastic GRE score above 330 or 325 at a physical test center, not at the home center, then yes, you may have a chance. Devansh asks, if someone needs profiling till the end of the year, should the person consider profile building till the end of the year? Should you consider applying in spring 2026 instead of fall 2025? So again, that question is best answered if we understand the nature of the profile building. For example, if it's your own research that you're doing, you can still apply for fall 25. But if you're doing an internship or a project and you want to get a letter of recommendation from that person, and that letter will be due only in December or January, then you may need to consider slightly postponing it. So let's discuss and then you will have more clarity. If you're for sure your internship would end by December and you can get the letter of recommendation from them by then, from your manager, then yes, you could apply. Your application will reach as long as it reaches before the deadline, the universities will scrutinize your applications. So that's great. So I had a lot of good questions, great interaction. Thank you so much for the feedback. This was a great session. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope this gives you food for thought. So do let us know what you will be doing next. What's your next move? And I wish you all the very best for today. And I wish you the best for your career and your academic journey. And I'm really looking forward to helping you in your dream to study abroad. On behalf of